So, as many of your viewers probably know, the way academic research works is that researchers do some work, then they write up their new findings, and they send them off to a scientific journal for publication. What happens when the article gets to the journal is they send it off to other experts in the field, and they generally send it to people whose own work is very close to the kind of work that's being submitted, and they evaluate the new work for correctness, but more importantly, for whether the new work is exciting. So if good people rate your work, your new stuff as being really good, well, then you get more fame, maybe you get more grant money, maybe even get a higher salary. So a scientist or a scholar really wants to get good, accurate evaluations. Now, evaluations are never perfect, but if your work fits really well into current research areas, then there are going to be a lot of experts close to your work, and you'll probably get a pretty accurate evaluation. Now, think of the case in which a researcher is deciding on their next project and they're deciding what subfield to work in. Well, if they're good, they're going to want their work to be evaluated by real experts because that increases their chance of getting a good evaluation and being well rewarded. So if one field has a lot of expertise and another one doesn't, there's this incentive to choose the field where you can really get a smart evaluation because already a lot of expertise. So that means that once a field has a bunch of expertise, a bunch of work already done in it, there's an incentive for new researchers to keep working in that field. This is what we call path dependence. But suppose the field that gets started first isn't really the best, or maybe it was, but it's mostly mined out now. Well, researchers still have an incentive to keep working in that field because it's the one they can get an accurate evaluation. And well, then what happens? At some point, outsiders don't have the expertise to evaluate a particular piece of work, but they can often tell where the field as a whole is going. They look at this field and say, it's just not producing much of very value anymore. And at that point, outside support for the field can start to fall apart. And so that's basically what this article that I wrote is about. The model exactly challenges these notions. There's a widespread feeling that there's insufficient risk-taking in science. So there's a reason people work in areas that something's already known about. It's because science usually proceeds step by step. So if you're doing something really different, it probably isn't going to work. But sometimes when it does, sometimes something really different, the payoff is very high. It's very innovative. This is a very hard problem to solve because you do want to support risk-taking and innovation, but you don't want to spend money on quackery. So there is actually one particular thing that institutions and funding agencies do to a limited extent. And that's instead of just looking at proposals for specific research and asking, does the research look promising? They look at the track record of the researchers themselves. And basically what they say is, if we know this person has done very good work in the past, even if we're not so comfortable with this current proposal, well, they've done good work, so maybe we ought to support it. And this sometimes opens opportunities for the very best people to take some risks.